Karl-Heinz Brandenburg. A lot of y'all don't know who the hell that is. You're wondering why would I start the video out with this? Well, this man made a discovery in 1991. He invented the humble MP3 file. Now, of course, 1991, not that many people in the world had computers. In fact, computers were still an anomaly. In 1991, I was still excited to go to the computer lab and play such games as Number Munchers and Oregon Trail and Carmen San Diego. It's a bunch of games I used to play on those Apple IIs. I loved them to death. It was always a joy to get on the computer and play, but it wasn't until I was about 15 or 16 years old till I imagined what would it be like to be able to listen to music on a computer. Now, fast forward to 1999. The first time I ever in my life laid eyes on a CD burner. Now, I want to get this clear. Now, CD burning or duplicating music in general before the inclusion of the MP3 player real tough in society was always kind of mature. Now, the way I would do it back in the day, I had a few methods. I would either go to my Aunt Linda's house or my Aunt Trisha's house, and I would take a bunch of blank tapes with me, blank cassettes, and I would basically make these tapes of their albums. Now, the problem is, back then, to do this, you'd have to listen to the entire album, unless you wanted certain songs off of the album. But normally I would want the whole Michael Jackson Bad album or the whole Janet Jackson Control album. So I would sit there and have to listen to the album. So a lot of times I would have the headphones on, nod my head while it was playing, praying no one stomped too hard and made the record skip. So I would have to start the song over and rewind right to the point where it was time and go from there. Another way I would do is I was copy from cassette. A little bit easier because you could actually turn down the volume and just do it and no one would know nothing. And especially my stepdad, he had a really high-tech tape player that would actually flip the tape over when the tape that you were recording from was done. So if it was done, it would flip, automatically go in reverse and record in reverse on the other side. That was pretty dope. Another thing I would do is I would copy music off the radio. Listen to the radio. Or when we got cable, I would hook the surround sound up to the stereo, and I would basically take the music audio and rip it from the TV to a tape, and I would have all the latest songs. So bootlegging itself, what I'm trying to say, is very hard. Even when the advent of the CD burner, my Uncle AJ was the first person to have a CD burner, and it was essentially like burning a tape or a record to a tape. Except it was a CD, and you had to be careful because there was no rewritable CDs at first, and if you made a mistake, you basically fucked off your CD. Now, a little further in 99, a little wonderful person named Sean Parker and Sean Fleming created a peer-to-peer file sharing service called Napster. Now, I want y'all to understand, basically what this is it was just basically from computer to computer over the internet. If you had the file that I wanted, like music, mainly it was music, I could download it from you, use it, have my own copy, and voila. This became a problem because the thing was, it blew up so big and bad. By the time I got my computer when I was 19 years old, and I got access to high-speed internet, because around this time, a lot of the cable networks were coming out with what was called Roadrunner at the time. Now it's just high-speed internet. This pretty much kicked this into high gear. Now, when they first came out, you had AOL dial-up, and there wasn't nobody about to wait 2 hours just to get one song. But with the advent of high-speed internet, that changed everything. Now, you could, instead of just burning one copy of a CD or copying a tape or something, you could literally have a whole Metallica catalog in the palm of your hands in less than an hour. If Really, I'm dead serious. This was crazy, right? To me, this nowadays that's not too much of a phenomenon. A lot of people are like, whatever. To me, back then, that was crazy. The first song I ever downloaded was "Bang Bang" by CNN featuring Foxy Brown because I really wanted to hear it, and I couldn't get nobody I knew had the CNN album at the time. So I was like, damn. So for me to be able to get this was phenomenally crazy, and it got to the point where I was hustling a little bit. People would come to me because it was still in 2001. It was still kind of a anomaly for someone to have a computer. I had a computer and I had access to free high-speed internet because I was in college. Wichita State gave us that good T1 internet. So all you need was your computer, Ethernet cord, and you're in there. So I made a little bit of money. I was making mixtapes, copying CDs, burning CDs. I was doing all types of shit. And all you needed was to spend those CDs. Spend those CDs was only like $20, and I could essentially get $5 a CD. All right, but then Napster got shut down because Napster made it entirely too easy. Literally, you could just know somebody that, you just go on Napster, type in Jay-Z, and you'll get everybody that has a Jay-Z song or a Jay-Z album, and voila. Okay, Napster ended up getting shut down. Now, then came stuff like BearShare, Kazaa, my personal favorite, Audio Galaxy, and torrent files as well. There was other programs too, but those are the main ones I used. My favorite one was Audio Galaxy because Audio Galaxy was the first time I ever put a credit card on any type of service. Basically, you can get Audio Galaxy. It was free, but the server was essentially But if you paid the little $20 for a lifetime membership, you can have their access to their other servers, and you got so much more, the music from the original server plus so much more. So I paid a little $20 and I was in business. And one day Audio Galaxy was gone. BearShare and Kazaa lasted the longest, but BearShare and Kazaa took it to the next level because they incorporated movies into this. You could download movies, my man. Whole movies. The first movie I ever downloaded was Star Wars Episode 2. And I couldn't believe I had that. I had it on MPEG or whatever it was. I think it was MPEG or MP4. I'm not sure. But I had it. I was watching it on my computer because it wouldn't work on my... I didn't have a DVD burner. I just had it. And the DVD players back then didn't play these. But anyway, I'm watching Star Wars on my computer. I'm freaking out because I'm like, man, this is in the theater. I feel guilty. Now, I never got into copying movies because I thought that was just a little bit too much. Why am I saying this? Why have I spent about 7 minutes talking about this? I want to talk about how I feel that all this was a setup. Let me explain something to you. Bootlegging has been around for years. Bootlegging music is not new. It's not nowhere near new. It's been around since the 80s, 70s. Basically, if you had the patience to copy a bunch of music to tape, make a fake bullshit copy of the cover art and wrap it up, you were in business. You go to any corner store in the hood back in the day and everybody had bootleg tapes and everything. Eventually got to bootleg CDs and bootleg DVDs. So it's not the new, but the bootleg tapes were a phenomenon. That was like something. I remember Tupac found a bootlegger. It's on YouTube where he was going off on a bootlegger for selling his tapes and other rappers' tapes, and he literally was like ready to beat dude's ass because that was a no-no. You don't bootleg tapes. That's not cool. In fact, a lot of artists were heavily against bootlegging back in the day. But Napster took it to the next level. Here's my theory. I don't think this was an accident, and let me explain why. You have to understand that the industry was changing. By 1999, you had young black CEOs, you had labels, you had black millionaires in music. Jay-Z was already up there. Snoop Dogg was coming up. Master P basically was running Priority Records. You know what I'm saying? You had all these artists that were becoming CEOs, young CEOs, and they had the game on lock. MC Hammer walked, so a lot of other artists could run and climb mountains. I'm telling you, this game was changing. Ja Rule was on Murder Inc. Murder Inc. was popping in the 2000s and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? All these mini labels, these sub labels, were making so much money. The big labels, they had to concede and give in. You know what I'm saying? Def Jam had more labels than I could count. It was even to the point where Rough Riders had a label deal, and DMX didn't want to be on Rough Riders. He started his own label. So what's one way to slow it down? Change the game. Now, basically, this was all introduced. Napster came and went. You know what I'm saying? People were affected by Napster that invented it. You know, they had something that they weren't able to really monetize and capitalize on like they should have. But it's like if one disappeared, the other one came. And that's just how it was. Like every time one would disappear, another one would come. It was always like that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, and this is just my theory, the industry had a lot to do with that. This was COVID-19 for the music and movie industry. Think about this. I just really want you to understand what it was. Because even in movies, a lot of black artists, black actors and actresses were starting to become directors. A lot of black movies were coming out. You had like the Waiting to Exhales, you had Soul Food, you had Sprung, Ride, even the movies like Ride and Fat Beach. These are movies that essentially were black produced type movies. These were black actors basically coming together and making these classic movies with young comedians and making money. Ice Cube had Friday, you know, even though that came out early in like maybe mid 90s, this was still an era where a lot of black people were making a lot of money. So that's one way to slow it up. You know, bootlegging has always hurt the music industry, but this was too much. This was a lot. This was crazy. Because now, I don't even have to sit there and download. I don't have to sit there and make a bunch of tapes. I could just download and copy it. And not to mention, they made CD burners. You can get a 5, 6, 7 stack CD burner and pay $300 for the shit. And still, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand, this was a multi-billion-dollar business, bootlegging. And nobody was really keeping it in check. The only people that I knew who got busted for bootlegging is the people who were like getting a little too good at it. You know, some cats were basically having their shit set up like it was a blockbuster movie or a fucking music land. I remember I walked into this one mom and pop store in my city. This dude had like the CD cases just on the shelves, and you would take the CD case up to him, and he'll tell you to come back in about an hour or so. And you come back, you pay him the money, you come back, and he would basically have all your CDs marked, wrote down, ready to go. And if you wanted to pay an extra $5, he would print off the label and put it on there for you, so it looked kind of official. So that was crazy, but he ended up getting busted because he was doing too much. Now, you got to understand, like, think about this. It changed the game so much that even artists, once they switched over and started saying, okay, we can make money off of this, they started, you know, sites like Amazon started selling MP3s on their site. A lot of artists didn't have this in their deal, so a lot of artists were getting robbed. So basically, labels were making millions of dollars on artists' music, especially with the advent of iTunes. That really fucked a lot of people's up, because a lot of cats are getting money. De La Soul, that's part of their beef, because they weren't getting any type of digital sales from their music. It was just hard. And as this progressed over the years, people stopped buying CDs. People stopped buying tapes. People stopped buying tapes in like 2002. So you got to understand that this was really fucking up a lot of shit. Mom and pop stores were essentially destroyed. Like literally, the last mom and pop store in my city was a place called Music and More. It shut about maybe right before COVID. They closed their doors for good. You know, essentially they became a specialty record store, but even they couldn't keep up with that. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't, even their loyal fans, who I was one of them, they just couldn't keep up with it. It was just a lot, you know. Because I could only go in there and buy 10, 15 CDs every so often. I couldn't just go in there every week and do that. I just couldn't. It was expensive. They were still charging high prices for their CDs because they got to eat, and I understand that. So essentially, they fucked artists. They knocked out the mom and pop stores, and they changed the overall way we listen and buy and consume music. Most importantly, the way music is released changed as well. You have to understand, this was some serious shit. We don't even buy music the same no more. People don't buy CDs no more. People don't look at cover art no more. They don't even gotta make cover art like that no more. They don't. The last brand new CD I ever bought, I want to say, would have to be Jay-Z's, was it 444? That's the last brand new. That either that or I think it was Jay-Z. It might have been Tribe Called Quest last album. I'm not 100% sure. Or you know what? I take that back. It was Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes released Extinction Level Event 2. That was the last brand new CD I ever bought because it was a package deal. You got the MP3 and it was signed by Busta Rhymes. So that's a collector's item. I haven't even opened that yet. I gotta find it, matter of fact. But so it changed everything about what was going on, and the only people that benefited off of that was the music industry. People got rich off of that. It wasn't until recently a lot of artists were stepping up and basically having fans boycott the streaming of their music before they actually got something right. Anita Baker, this is a veteran who has finished many record deals, was not getting any digital money from her digital payouts for her digital content. She had to literally have us boycott them. She begged us not to stream her music, and they eventually cut her a deal to where she owns her masters. Now she can get paid for that shit. That is crazy. De La just got their deal, or I think they got their deal where they can actually start getting them paid for their music, and hopefully it'll be uploaded to like Tidal and wherever else you listen to music soon. So I think that is crazy. De La Soul even went so far as about 5 or 6, 7 years ago, they literally put all of their music on a website for us to download for free, because they were basically like, yo, if they gonna do us like that, we gonna do them like that. So I took advantage of that. I have all the De La Soul albums, every single one of them, even the one I don't like. The only one I don't have is their newest one. I need to buy that one. I just haven't. But for the most part, I feel like the industry is behind this. The overall entertainment industry, because music was affected, movies were affected. The way, like I said, the way we bought music, the way we consume music was changed so drastically. It's kind of like COVID. We have to live different now. We can't live like we were living before. We have to basically change the way we think and how we interact with people. Now I work a job, my day job, I literally sit at home all day, and I'm on the phones at home. Talking to people all across the country, helping people with their TV service, and I'm getting paid well for it, and I don't have to leave the house. I literally sat here in my underwear at work, working. I've never done that before. I think that's the craziest thing ever. But the music industry was the same way. Everyone had to adapt to it. Everyone had to change the game. Everyone had to do different things. At first it was mixtapes. Then the mixtape game got kind of fucked up because it was oversaturated. And now you can go to a site and upload your music and release your music next to the majors and be on top. But you can mass release music. You can release music every week if you wanted to, if you had the music to do it. And that's getting oversaturated too. So you got to really think about, damn, all this started with Napster. And we really don't know. I mean, they got the repercussions of what the Shans went through. But did they really go through that? Because they literally made every single major record label rich. They made these cats rich beyond their wildest dreams. A lot of these cats don't even have to work anymore. They just live off of your music. I watched the documentary where this guy was talking about, I've never heard this dude before, and he was just going through albums, talking about the albums the label owns and how they get paid off these albums. Meanwhile, the artist wasn't getting nothing from it because it was all digital sales. That is fucking insane. That is insane. And it all started with an alleged idea from some kids in a college dorm with a program that they invented that allowed me to share music with you across the world. Fucking right. But hey, it's just a fan's perspective. I'll cover this more in depth on another video. This is just my thoughts right now. I really want to dig into this conversation. Let me know what you think. I really want to know your opinion on this. I know this sounds rushed, but I really was passionate about this one. Holla at your boy. Peace.